Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Make it an amazing day with Johan. Never make that mistake again. Let's talk about it. There was a president, former president, John F. Kennedy. He was assassinated in Dallas, Texas in 1964. And one of his quotes is, "It's never a mistake if you correct it. It's never a mistake if you correct it." How do we correct mistakes? This video is kind of, well, not kind of. It's like part 2 of the emotional hangover video. What do I do to not make the same mistake twice? What do I do? So, you've had an experience with a person, place, or thing. Maybe it was earlier today, or yesterday, or last week. You're upset by it. Maybe you're even angry over it. If your encounter was with a person and you left there feeling upset, uncomfortable, angry, the process starts with an honest assessment of that situation. And typically, I handle these moments during meditation when I'm resting in a peaceful place. I'm collecting my thoughts. I'm referring to situations specifically at this moment where you had an experience with another person, and let's just say it didn't end well. For whatever reason, and there could be a lot of reasons. Let's use an example that you went to the bank. Earlier that day you had been looking through your bank account and saw a withdrawal that you were unsure of. Maybe you're in the state of mind that you think you got scammed. So you go to your bank or your credit union all upset, freaking out. Maybe you're even cursing. Maybe the person that is helping you isn't doing it fast enough, so you berate them. You use inappropriate language. There's a possibility that after they tell you you weren't scammed, and this is what happened, you may not like that answer and you storm out of the bank. Here's another example. Maybe you went to a state park to go swimming. You got there, you pulled into the parking lot, you walked to the swimming area, and there's a sign there, "No swimming," and a description below. Why? Typically at state parks there's a camp host, so now you go over there, "Why can't I go swimming?" And you don't like what that person has to tell you. Here's another example. Maybe you wanted to get up at a particular time one day to go somewhere, and for whatever reason, you woke up later than normal. And now you're freaking out. Maybe you wanted to go to a flea market and get there early before all the people showed up, okay? You forgot to set your alarm, perhaps. Perhaps you asked someone to wake you up. Perhaps you asked someone to text message you to wake you up, whatever the reason. So you have these 3 examples I gave you. So what do you do to never make that mistake again? And here's what you do. In a comfortable state, okay? In a comfortable state where you're sitting peacefully, you look back at the situation again. Whether it's the bank, or you went to the state park, or you got up later than you wanted to. You look back at the situation again. Run it through your mind. And in particular, if it has to do with another person, this is where you pay attention to what I'm saying. You look at that experience, that encounter you had with another person, and it didn't end well because for whatever reason you got upset. The first point is, if you owe that person an apology, you need to make it right, okay? You're thinking about that event. Do you owe that person an apology? That has to be done first, okay? If you have to make an apology to that person, you were in the bank, you didn't like the fact that what you thought happened with your bank account didn't happen, and you raised your voice, you cursed, ran out of the bank. If you owe that person an apology, you go and make that amends and set it right. Then return somewhere to do a spot check inventory to assess the situation. So you're doing it twice now. You come to nature like I do, perhaps. You look back at the situation and ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What could I have done differently? If you had 5 cups of coffee or 10 energy drinks before you went to the bank and you were all caffeined up, maybe next time don't get all caffeined up before you go to the bank or credit union. If you didn't like the answer you got from the bank teller, next time, try to solve it yourself then. There's a good chance, 9 times out of 10, when you go to the bank teller with this problem, they're giving you an honest appraisal and telling you what they know as they look at the computer system. You look at the situation and ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Well, I didn't have to flip out at that person. When you went to the state park and the swimming area was closed, are you not aware that this happens from time to time? So you look at that situation and ask yourself, what could you have done differently? Well, you didn't have to go and berate the camp host. In the case where you didn't get up when you wanted to get to the flea market early, don't blame the other person that didn't text you, or maybe they did text you and you didn't hear the ping. What could I have done differently in that situation? If you're honest about it, and you've done this before, and every other time it went well, what you could have done differently was said, this is what happens in life sometimes. Don't take it personal. It happened. If it happens to you all the time, then you need to come up with a different method to get to the flea market early. That's what you could do next time. You could go there and sleep in your car and be there first thing in the morning if you wake up for whatever reason or by whatever method. I'm being silly now. Sometimes things happen and it's not something personal. So let's review. You have a situation that didn't go well. You're in meditation, you look at it, okay, this happened, that happened. Do I owe someone an apology or amends? You do that. Don't do it over the phone. After that's done, go sit somewhere. Don't have 10 coffees again, or energy drinks. You sit somewhere where you can relax, where you could rest, where it's peaceful. Look at the situation again and ask yourself, what could I have done differently? You might realize that before you went to the bank, typically you have a glass of orange juice, some eggs, and a piece of toast, and you didn't eat that morning. Because you were so upset, you didn't even eat. Are you following me? So the second time you look at the situation and see what you could have done differently. Maybe you were tired that morning and had 5 coffees instead of 2. Please, be realistic about caffeine and what it does to your system. All right? You're not always going to get your own way. The day isn't going to go as planned at times. You may hurt someone else emotionally. You may. But in all those cases where you overreact, you're inappropriate, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. Make it an amazing day. Make it. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of day you're going to have. And not just that, make it an amazing life. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of life you're going to have. So make it a good one.